2015 saw the release of Sarah J. Maas' young adult fantasy book A Court of Thorns and Roses. A loose retelling of Beauty and the Beast with elements of fairy lore, romance, and political intrigue, the book is the first in the A Court of Thorns and Roses series. The narrative tracks Fair Karen, a young huntress, as her life is drawn into the perilous and enigmatic realm of the Fae. Fair Karen, a talented huntress fighting to sustain her low-income family in the human world, is introduced in the book. After killing a wolf in the woods, Fair discovers that the animal was actually a fairy, which causes her life to take a drastic turn. A huge beast that appears to be Tamlin, a formidable high fae, pays her family a visit as payback. Fair is taken from her family to live in the Fae lands in order to carry out the terms of the treaty between the Fae and humans. Fair is taken to Tamlin's home, the Spring Court. The estate is full of magic and mysteries, and it is also dangerous. Fair, who is bitter about her confinement and the limitations imposed upon her, finds it difficult to adapt to her new environment. Fair gains deeper knowledge of the Fae and uncovers the complexities of their political system. Ancient treaties bind the Fae, and tensions are simmering beneath the surface. The fairy court's worries are made more pressing by the impending threat of a blight known as the Calamity. Tamlin can't talk freely about some things because he wears a cursed mask. Fair gets committed to solving the riddle of the mask and the secrets Tamlin is concealing. Fair and Tamlin develop a complicated bond in spite of their initial animosity. Fair changes as she spends more time in the realms of the Fae. She awakens latent magical powers within herself and starts to comprehend the complexity of the Fae realm. Her initial contempt for the Fae transforms into a more nuanced appreciation of their complexity. It gets more and more urgent as the Blight, a magical curse affecting the Fae lands, approaches. The Blight is linked to an enigmatic enchantment that needs to be broken, endangering the Fae courts. The Blight's cause is identified as Amarantha, a formidable and evil fairy. She is a powerful force over Tamlin and the other courts, having enslaved the Fae lands. Amarantha's intentions and the scope of her abilities are still unknown. To lift the curse and foil Amarantha's schemes, Tamlin and Fair have to survive a number of lethal trials beneath the mountain. Their bravery, fortitude, and level of affection for one another are put to the test by these trials. Fair learns who the fairy courts are, her allies and enemies, which highlights the intricate nature of fairy politics. Fair and Tamlin's relationship develops into a passionate and intense romance as they work through their hardships. As a result of their shared struggles, Fair grows to understand Tamlin's weight and the extent of his sacrifices. Fair and Tamlin develop what is known as the mating bond, a strong magical bond. Their bond, an uncommon and profound connection between Fae mates, heightens the intensity of their bond. But it also creates more challenges and puts them in danger. Tamlin puts his dedication to keeping Fair safe to the test and gives up a lot to do so. Both characters are forced to face their weaknesses and the repercussions of their choices as the events play out. A key character in the story is the mysterious High Lord of the Night Court, Rhysand. His connections to Fair and his enigmatic motivations make one wonder what his true allegiances are. The interactions between Rhysand and Fair give the story more depth and intrigue as it develops. Fair's inner strength emerges as a defining characteristic throughout the difficulties. Despite the difficulties she faces in navigating the complexities of the Fae world and her own developing abilities, she is driven by her resilience and determination to protect those she cares about. In the midst of the political unrest, Fair befriends Tamlin's emissary, Lucien, who adds a layer of solidarity. The novel explores friendship and alliances, and Lucien's loyalty to Tamlin and his own struggles within the Fae court are important aspects of it. The story culminates in a terrifying confrontation beneath the mountain, where Fair faces Amarantha and has to make difficult decisions in order to lift the curse and preserve the Fae lands. The course of events for the characters and the realm of the Fae is determined by how the trials are resolved and Amarantha's intentions are ultimately revealed. Fair's fortitude and recently acquired abilities play a critical role in the decisive conflict with Amarantha. Fair's character development and her willingness to make sacrifices for the greater good are made clear during the confrontation. Tamlin is altered by the conflict's aftermath, and the Fae courts are affected by the cursebreaking's after effects. With a feeling of closure and the prospect of fresh difficulties and experiences for Fair and Tamlin, the book closes on a positive note. The Beauty and the Beast fairy tale serves as the basis for the novel, which retells the traditional tale with a darker and more nuanced twist. A major theme of the book is the investigation of love, sacrifice, and redemption. The book explores issues of vulnerability, power relationships, and the fallout from using magical abilities. Characters struggle with the effects of their virtues and vices in a world where power can both avert disaster and spark conflict. Fairy lore and political intrigue give the Fae world a rich texture. The intricate workings of the Fae courts, their alliances, and the precarious equilibrium between diplomacy and power are all explored in the book. The journeys of the characters, the complexity of the Fae world, and the ongoing difficulties Fair and her allies face are all explored in further detail in the books that follow.